Okay, hello and welcome. I'm very excited to welcome you to the ultimate Candlesticks Geometric Patterns Trading Course. Now, a lot of people have been wondering, what is all these geometric patterns all about? And basically, I'm here just to guide you through and give you a little bit more about what geometric patterns are, and then I'll give you more guidance into it, and then we'll go into the charts as well. It'll be a very, very different course for you, but the title of this course is the Ultimate Candlesticks Geometric Patterns course. Okay, so shall we get going then? Now, a lot of questions about price patterns, harmonic patterns. A lot of people are wondering about all these patterns out there. Now, I am here today to guide you through on the basics so that you understand what geometric patterns are. Now, what it is very simple. They are simply price patterns that are formed through basic geometric shapes, mainly triangles and squares. Of course, most of you may have heard about how people out there, especially professional traders, they do actually apply or use shapes like triangles, squares, and even circles. But in this respect, with geometric patterns, I have actually found a very unique way of drawing manually some triangles and sometimes squares, but mostly triangles. And these could actually then help you predict where the price may actually go. But of course, it's not, I'll explain a little bit more, it's not actually supposed to be used just on its own. It needs to be part of a trade plan, it needs to be part of a set of rules, and also a use of some other tools and indicators that actually help you to understand how to spot, draw the pattern, and also trade the pattern. Okay, hope that makes sense to you guys. But it's a very interesting topic, so stay tuned and you will understand much more, and we'll go onto the charts as well. I'll draw manually for you onto a chart, onto a candlestick chart, and then you'll understand how we actually trade for over 12 years now, the geometric patterns. Okay, guys? All right. Now, where did they derive from? Very simple. I have actually founded this pattern, but it's not originally mine. Obviously, it's been actually tweaked and adjusted to make it a geometric pattern, but it derived from a basic ABCD pattern. Now, a lot of people may understand or have seen these patterns. These patterns, we could call it the lightning bolt pattern as well. You can actually see you've got basic AB equals CD structure. What does AB equals CD mean? Very simple. It just means that the length of A to B equals the length of C to D. Now, in most respects, on a live chart, when you're actually already trading, I know some of you guys may have no clue what trading is all about, but don't worry, we've got courses to cover that for beginners, total beginners, advanced, intermediate levels. Don't worry about that at all, but it's just to let you guys know it's a form of technical analysis. So we need to draw all these patterns manually, and you can actually do it no matter whatever level that you are in Forex trading. You can actually draw it, and you can actually draw a single line using a trend line onto your chart. Now, a lot of people are using, for example, the MT4 MetaTrader 4 platform, or even on TradingView, anything, any platform out there that you can actually use to analyze the market and do these technical drawings. Okay. So here, for example, when you draw a trend line, you're drawing it from A to B, and then you draw another line, the corrective move B to C, and then you just double click onto the A to B line, and then you move it over to C to D, and you're actually trading the C to D leg. And we are actually predicting the fall here on this bearish pattern, for example. I think that there must be a little bit of a mistake here with bullish and bearish right here. Forgive me for that. It's the other way around. This is actually a bearish pattern here and a bullish pattern up there. But don't worry, we'll get that cleared off with the remaining slides as well, and then we will draw it and practice together. Okay, so we have got the structure of it, or the formation of an ABCD pattern is really simple. Now, this is just an ABCD pattern that we're talking now. It's not yet a geometric pattern. The geometric pattern side of it is just a single line that will convert, single line that is drawn to convert the ABCD pattern into a geometric pattern. So it's really interesting, and you'll see that drawn in a bit. Okay, so here, for example, you'll see that we have got all these funny numbers and percentages like 38%, 88% retracement and all that, mainly because me as a geometric pattern strategist, I use a lot of Fibonacci. So Fibonacci tool like retracement and extension will cover all that as well for you in the remaining other videos as well, so that we'll get into detail on how Fibonacci is used as a measuring and confirmation tool in order for you to understand how solid this pattern is, or whether or not it's a high probability, a low risk pattern. So we'll take it this way. We use the Fibonacci tool, retracement extension, not only to predict where the price might actually go, that is your Fibonacci extension, but Fibonacci retracement, I use it to confirm the C point. This C point right here, when I pull my Fibonacci from A to B, I could actually use it to understand whether or not it is a good idea to enter this trade with that pattern, or whether or not this pattern is a solid pattern or not very solid, very, very risky pattern or not. So that's basically how I use Fibonacci tool. So the Fibonacci tool, or Fibonacci ratio retracement extension, is a primary measurement tool and confirmation tool, also a predictive tool for me to use it hand in hand with these patterns. Okay, so there you go. Very simple. We have got basic AB equals CD structure. You probably have seen it already. Let me now go to my next slide. Now here, for example, you've got, it's clearer here. You've got your bearish pattern here and your bullish pattern. So it's made up of three legs: A to B, B to C, and C to D. So what that actually means is that we don't really trade the moment it comes starting point at A, because it's just it's quite ridiculous, really, because we cannot really trade something that's not there. So we need price to form, and then form a structure and travel, for example, from A to B on a bearish market, and then go up to B to C as a corrective market, and then just come down a little bit and then confirm that this may be or probably be a pattern that we can actually enter. But again, we use the Fibonacci tool. We've got a couple of things that we need to check lists, for example, combine it with other areas or school of analysis, and then we trade it. So it's not a standalone kind of strategy or technique that we have. It's actually a technique or a patterns, a price pattern technique or methodology that can actually be applied into your trade plan. We'll talk a little bit more about trade plan as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about how these patterns, the basic of your geometric pattern, can actually be used as an ingredient into your trade plan in order for you to form a strategy or a methodology to act in action or trade or execute your trades finally. Okay, so I hope that makes sense so far. I hope that is quite interesting for you. Now, we'll move on to the next one here. Now, ABCD patterns and candlestick chart. Now, obviously, I need to pinpoint the word candlestick chart right here, because we've got quite a number of charts, right? If you go onto your platform, trading platform, you've got your line chart, your tick chart. Now, for over 10 years or so, me applying these geometric patterns, drawing these geometric patterns, they are best drawn on candlestick chart, just to let you know, okay? So this is important because it goes hand in hand with candlestick patterns as well. I know some of you guys out there know the hammer and, you know, the hammer pattern, for example, engulfing pattern, dragonfly, dojis, and all that. They can actually come very handy if you know it already, learning about it, or want to learn about it much more. And I will tell you a little bit more about recommended videos out there by other trainers and very experienced traders out there that are actually going to be good for your learning on that. I'm not a specialist on candlestick patterns, but then I can see that a lot of candlestick patterns traders out there using all these patterns as a confirmation tool onto the geometric pattern, and it works hand in hand. It works very well. It increases the probability of success as well in reaching your take profit area. Okay, so there you go. You've got further into this is just that your A to B, B to C, you don't actually trade on it. You're trading only on C to D, basically. So there's a trigger point as well. Now, the reason why I have sort of I wouldn't say invented, but founded a better way in trading these ABCD patterns is by converting these ABCD pattern into geometric patterns, because if we stay on with just the ABCD pattern, I find that it lacks entry point. So when I've converted it into a geometric pattern, it then gives me the idea that that pattern is made up of two triangles, and two triangles that intersects and gives me a entry point, and that entry point could also be a very significant support and resistance, and I will show you that in a bit. Okay, so we'll just proceed on to our next slide. Now we have got this on a chart. Now on your candlestick chart, it looks something like this. So I've drawn, let's say, a bearish chart and bearish ABCD pattern right here. Okay, now in red. So I've drawn that A to B, that this is simply a trend line, okay, a simple trend line. You drag it from point A to point B, and then you double click your point A to B. We'll do that on the chart in a bit. And you drag that to C to D, and that's how you predict or forecast that the price could actually fall in a bearish market right to the D point area. And you can see around the D point area, we've got a market reversal upwards, okay? Now, that's the same with a bullish ABCD pattern in blue. Now, you would draw your A to B, you double click that, and you bring it across. Of course, you draw your B to C as well. Now, we are predicting the C to D upward move, and as you can see, that is your D point where it's your take profit area as well. And that has actually gone very nicely with a reversal right after it reached the D point area there. So it has worked 73 to 75% accuracy level, but it's not, again, I repeat, is not to be used on its own. So this is basically really, really important for us to understand that it's a tool, an ingredient that needs to be put as part of a trade plan, a set of rules as well. You need to apply a lot of other things like your money and risk management tools as well. If you've got other techniques as well, like for example, candlestick patterns that I've mentioned about earlier on, or if you are an Elliott wave trader, anything that can actually be put as an additional ingredient to sharpen your predictive forecasting skills could actually be very useful in adding on to the trade plan that has geometric patterns in it. Okay, so this is basically what I want to let you guys know. So it's not a standalone, it's an ingredient that could actually be more powerful with combining with your other methodology or techniques. Okay, so there we go. Very simple. It's very easily drawn. Anybody could do it. Okay, even children nowadays, you know, they can just draw it really easily. It's like you drawing onto the paint application or anything like that, a straight line, double click, and then you've got a zigzag, sort of a lightning bolt pattern going downwards or lightning bolt pattern going upwards, and that's it. And here basically your AB pattern, your AB leg, sorry, is the same distance with your C to D. Okay, now we'll go to the next slide. Okay, now this is where it matters. This is where a geometric pattern, this is how a geometric pattern looks like. Now, here you go. We have, initially we had just the ABCD pattern. That's just a candlestick ABCD pattern. It's not yet a geometric pattern until you draw a single line from A to D. That's why I've highlighted that A to D line here on the bearish pattern and A to D line on the bullish pattern. That makes, that basically is your single line that converts a normal ABCD lightning bolt pattern into a geometric pattern, as simple as that. Okay, so we have got A, B, B to C, C to D, and then we draw just a line from A point right down to D point. Now, once you've got your ABCD pattern, your geometric ABCD pattern with the A to D line, you will see an intersection between a center point between the AD line and the BC line, basically intersects like an X right there. And the middle of that line there, I have called it centroid, like a center point. Okay, where it intersects like an X. Now, the middle of that X is your centroid, and that is your trigger entry price. Okay, your trigger entry price, where you can actually enter it there, right there at that price. But we have got our ways of doing it by increasing the probability, by respecting price action as well. And I use a lot of psychological numbers. I tweak it based on psychological levels. We'll do another course on that specifically as well. So do stay tuned and subscribe as well so that you can get notified with all my other topics as well. So here we adjust the price based on psychological level. Now here, let's look at the bearish geometric pattern. You've got your bearish geometric pattern that started with your A, B, C, and then price travels down. So we don't enter until the C point travels downwards towards the centroid, goes under the centroid a little bit. That would trigger my entry selling price, and then the price traveled all the way down and I take profit just before the D point. And that's basically how I trade the geometric pattern. That's the bearish pattern. The same goes with your bullish pattern. We need to wait till price traveled and form these patterns by going from A point to B point and then come back down, correct itself on the C point right here. Okay, and then as it travels upwards here and triggers the centroid area right there, then you can actually have got a trigger buy price to enter a buy right here, and then you take profit before it reaches the D point right there. So as simple as that. Okay, now the wonderful thing about the centroid or the center point here, I've experimented it with thousands of charts as well, that when you draw a straight line onto the centroid, you'll notice that on this line itself, automatically you've got very, very significant support and resistance all the way through. And that goes the same here on this one here. If you draw a straight line, you can actually see that lots of prices concentrated on that area for reversals as well, so creating support and resistance zones. So these are really interesting patterns that I've seen it working, and I've seen it working tremendously well, increasing your probability in predicting the markets, reaching your take profits and all that when you combine with other techniques as well. So hence the reason it's not a standalone. So once you've actually have got a set of rules that are going to offer you high probability and low risk trades and setups, that is basically where geometric patterns can actually shine through even more to actually offer you great trading setups, okay, and high probability ones to offer you consistency as well. Okay, so let's proceed with our next slide. Hope it makes sense. Now, I just want to go through with you guys on geometric pattern trading rules. Okay, so there are some rules that if we abide and follow it, it'll just encourage us to actually become more and more successful, more and more consistent, and get the results. So number one is that when we draw the ABCD structure or formation or pattern, we need to understand that the AB's length equals the C to D's length. So that's the way we have a solid structure, not just draw a line as we see it visually, or we see it visually fits and it's really beautiful. And then we think that, okay, that is a great pattern. No, sometimes even after you've drawn it correctly, it may not actually mean that a very beautiful pattern drawn will actually predict and 100% you will reach your D point or your take profit as such. No, we have rules, basically other risk and management rules that we need to look into, and it does actually depend on our Fibonacci ratio, retracement ratio on C point especially, that helps us determine whether or not this pattern is a high probability pattern or a low probability pattern, whether it's a high risk pattern or a low risk pattern. So we've got like a checklist that we incorporate that into a trade plan that I call it price trade plan, PRICE. We'll talk a little bit more in a while on that as well. So I apply the geometric pattern onto a trade plan as well. As really important. So the second rule is that you only want to spot and draw a bullish pattern in a bullish trend. So we've got some ways in identifying trends using some indicators like the moving average or the RSI. We just want to confirm, but then it's important for us to actually travel and compare one time frame with the other time frame. And it does actually also depend on your goals, on your equity level as well. Now, if you are looking at trading on a lower time frame, that might actually fit with your lower level equity as well. So where if it's medium size capital that you have, you can then look into the 1 hour chart or or even higher. It all depends on your equity level as well as your goal and your risk appetite. So be very careful with that, okay? But with regards to geometric patterns, you can find it in any time frame, which is a wonderful thing, on any instruments as well, including stocks, indices, commodities, gold, anything you want as well. But I've worked on it for over 10 years now with being a specialist in applying geometric patterns or drawing geometric patterns, spotting geometric patterns specifically onto currencies and also gold and silver. So this has been my specialty in that area, but then a lot of other traders out there has actually applied and feedbacked me for the other instruments and other asset classes, and they say that it's been working magnificently well for them. So I just want to share that with you as well. Okay, so AB equals CD, number one. Number two, bullish pattern in bullish trend, and as the same goes for bearish pattern in bearish trend. Okay, so the other thing as well is we're not trading A to B, B to C, we're only trading the C to D leg. Okay, so be very, very careful with that, because sometimes, you know, when we are professional traders out there, especially as myself trading geometrically as well, I just want to tell you guys that it is very important for us to have a set of rules and follow them. So if I trade only the C to D leg, I would encourage most other traders as well only the C to D leg, because that's the only way to sort of follow the rules to help us become more patient and disciplined. This is one of the key. So when we get really busy up in our mind, we may be getting less busy in our hearts, so that emotionally we can actually manage our emotion better with a set of rules that keeps our head clear, busy but clear at the same time. So that's really, really important. So you want to trade only the C to D leg, brilliant. And then you want the centroid, which is the AD and the AD line and the BC line intersects in the very middle. That's your entry point. Because I've noticed as well, with regards to harmonic patterns out there, butterfly pattern, Gartley, and various others, and together with just the ABCD pattern, what is lacking is point of entry, and what is also lacking is to have it as an ingredient and not a stand-alone strategy. And to combine with other ingredients, other school of analysis, and then make it sharper, and then apply it onto a trade plan. And then you want to balance up the methodologies as well. For example, technical analysis and fundamental needs to be meshed up. For example, combine and get the right information from it, and then plan how you enter, execute the market. Okay, so then with that, the D point is your take profit, obviously. So you're traveling the C to D, and your D point is your take profit area. Now with that also, your stop loss, you want to maintain your stop loss at 1-to-1 ratio. 1-to-1, very simple. If your target, for example, from point of entry to your take profit is about 50 pips, then your entry to your stop loss should also be 50 pips. So that's basically what it means. So that's your risk to reward ratio, 1-to-1. And that's all it means. Very, very simple. Okay, so we can actually guide you through that even clearer in our upcoming videos that you can find in my channel, kennysimon.tv. Now, don't trade it on its own. I want to emphasize that as many times as possible. It's not a standalone, as I said. But of course, we want to use tools and seasonal advisor that is provided by elite traders as well. I basically love working with tools and a community that are very successful, because they're guided with coaches and mentors, elite traders club. You've got your the website right at the corner there on your right, and that is where basically you'll get loads of other services as well, like signals, help, and everything else. But then the community and the coaches there are one of the best I've ever seen in the industry. So hence the reason I'm part of the community as well, and we're servicing our traders to actually learn the right way. Okay, the right way of trading, applying the right tools, and also applying practically the right type of education. All right. So then, lastly, you need to apply it onto a trade plan. I'll talk a little bit more about a trade plan that I have actually devised, and how you can actually put all this into a trade plan. And that will be the wonderful part of combining everything and making things work for you. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next one. I've mentioned a little bit about recommended videos. I would recommend, if it comes to candlestick pattern, I would recommend Rayner Teo. Rayner Teo's video on YouTube is fantastic. I love it. A lot of traders, I'm not a specialist on candlestick patterns, as I've mentioned earlier on, but then you will get, he's run a course, Rayner Teo has got an ultimate candlestick patterns course on YouTube. You can click on it. It's free. You can actually, learn a lot more about engulfing patterns, hammers, dragonfly. I think he mentioned a little bit about shooting star, morning, evening stars, as well as your tweezer top, bottom, all that kind of thing. I'm not a specialist, like I've mentioned, but then I've seen loads of other traders. Actually, traders have actually taught me about candlestick patterns and then look into how the candlestick patterns could actually signal you whether or not the trend is going to continue or not. So we can actually look at that. You know, the C point on the ABCD pattern, the geometric pattern, on the C point itself, sometimes you get all these formation of candlestick patterns. And then if you guys are learning about candlestick patterns from Rayner Teo, for example, then this may actually be very useful for you to understand reversals or continuation from that point, C point and centroid point onwards could actually, if you've got some patterns have actually just popped up and then it signals you whether it is a continuation or a reversal, that may be a very, very crucial piece of information to help you trade the geometric patterns even better, even sharper, and even more consistently profitable. Okay, so that is basically it. So do check Rayner Teo's videos as well. I would highly recommend them because it's very clear. He actually draws it out and pinpoints how do you apply it, what does it actually mean. So I think it's a good video to add on to my video here to actually combine it as a sort of strategy that goes hand in hand, and it'll probably work for you very well. Okay, all right, guys. Now let's go on to I've mentioned about Seasonal Advisor. Now, basically what it is, very simple. It's just it's a software designed by the elite traders community. Now, we're talking about a community that's about 100,000 global followers, and it's fantastic. So I do use their Seasonal Advisor as well to actually understand trend for a long term. I look at their pattern analysis as well through the Seasonal Advisor, and that has been really useful for me to actually understand the trend medium to long term and also the momentum of the trend as well. And in that, I actually can draw and spot my patterns even clearly and much better. Hence the reason. And that's how it looks. It's just like this. And it's been designed by some very credible programmers and developers as well. So here, for example, just giving you a bit of an example, we have got a summary of whether or not it's bullish or bearish, and then we've got a strength indicator right there. The longer the bar, the stronger the trend. And then we have got gold, for example. I'm looking at gold at this moment of time, and I'll be releasing a video on gold signals as well as the patterns that goes with gold, and then we want to predict the market for gold. And it's really a fantastic market to look into gold trading at this moment of time as well. So we have got it signaling bullish all the way through, and we've got a reasonably high number of bars as well, which basically indicates to us that we've got a clear sort of trend for the gold. And if we want to go into it deeper, we click onto it, and then we have got a seasonal analysis, like a pattern analysis right here. And if I want to go deeper into it, of course, I can go and look into these momentum here from 6 months, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, and all that. And yesterday's, look at the rising momentum right here, which basically means that we've got participation of buyers into it. So that gives me an idea that, okay, I've got a bullish opportunity for gold, and then I go on into my trade plan. I mix the ingredients up as well with the help of the seasonal advisor, of course, and then I draw my pattern, I spot my pattern, I draw my pattern, and I checklist them, and then I make a decision to enter the trade and exit the trade. Okay, all right, there we go, guys. And then we have got forecast horizons from 2 days right up to 28 days right there. Gives us a very interesting seasonal prognosis. Everything else may look very, very technical at this moment of time, but then we run courses at the Elite Traders Club as well. We've got courses right there, and a community of traders, as well as the coaches, mentors. They have got fantastically designed courses, takes you through on the seasonal advisor. And then check us out as well onto the app. We've got an app. Elite Traders have got an app whereby you can download it on your Play Store, and then you can try them out for their signal services as well. We've got coaching services and also the seasonal advisor coaching for different levels of traders and investors as well. Okay, so here, for example, if I've clicked on the Fibonacci tool right there, and then it comes up with Fibonacci related analysis as well. And that is basically it. Now, I apply all that onto a price trade plan that I have actually devised. So the price trade plan is made up of PRICE. Now, very simple, right? It stands for something. Now, P stands for psychology of market. I want to know the trend. I've got techniques and methodology on how you actually identify trend clearly, of course, with the use of seasonal advisor as well. Very, very useful. And then I want to go on to understanding the risk to reward. What's your risk appetite? How do you calculate your lot sizes? And what are your goals, combined with the lot sizing as well, to decide what lot size per pip that you need to open, following what trades have you got open, and various other things. So we are there as coaches and mentors to guide, to guide you through all these. Now, insights. Of course, as coaches, mentors, and traders, we're all full-time traders as well. We have got insights, and insights meaning that we do our research, and I do the research in the market based on macro economics as well, geopolitics as well, various other economic intelligence things. I read reports every day, and basically with all these insights we share amongst us, the traders and mentors and coaches especially. Then we come up with a conclusion that actually marries up with the tools that we use. So if it does marry up with the tools we use, we then share that out to our trader in order for us to make a better financial decision and analysis of the market, so that we can enter and exit the market rightly. And that's basically it. So hence the reason we need the traders out there to connect with us at Elite Traders as well, with myself as well as your mentor and coaches, because you need that extra insiders information to complete the PRI, C, and E. If without the I right there that gels all these PR and CE, then it will not actually work for you. Okay, so then we want to go on to confirmation, the C. Confirmation means you want to pick out all the ingredients, put them into a checklist from PRI, and then you want to confirm them all, your trend direction, your psychology of the market, and everything clears out to be high probability and low risk, and then we enter the trade. Okay, and then finally, of course, your E, once you've done your PRIC, then you can execute the order, and that means that's the last stage of your financial decision making or your trading decision made. Okay, so that's your price trade plan. Of course, we've got many elements within each letter of the word, and we'll bring you through on that very clearly. And that is basically how the price trade plan works. Okay, all right, guys. Of course, you know, the P stands for psychology of the market, and it's really important for us to use tools. And at Elite Traders, of course, we've got our seasonal tools. We've got our own heat map in there, and basically that helps me to identify strongest, what do you call that, pairs for the day, and also for the days and week ahead, or even months, so we understand the progress and the momentum of each trend for each pair as well. So then this will then allow us to understand how do you pick the right pair to trade, because this is the number one challenge of most of the traders out there. Even seasoned traders out there may have challenges in picking the right pair for the day, picking the right pair for the week, depending on your style of trading. as well, whether it's scalping, short-term, medium-term, swing trading, and various other things. Okay, so there we go. We've also got, we need to understand what has moved the market, what has been moving, which are the top 10 moving pairs for the day, why have traders actually put all their interest into that pair and not the other pair. So all these kind of things, and we need to look into it from a 4-hour, daily, weekly to monthly as well. Okay, and also, of course, we need to understand a little bit about volatility chart in order for us to combine the pairs correctly. So we have got, for example, JPY is seen to be very, very volatile against the USD, against the CAD and Y. And then we go onto the tools, and then we go onto the charts. So we confirm it onto the charts as well in terms of trend. And then we look into the clarity of the pattern, and then we combine all these ingredients up, and then we apply them onto the trade plan, PRIC, and then we execute it on the E. Okay. There we go. All right. So very simple, guys. I just want a bit of a summary at the moment. What do you need to do right now after watching all this? Now, there are certain things that you can think about, if it's the weekend or you just want to take 1 hour and think about all this. The most important thing is you need to know what you want. Is Forex trading really for you? It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but you need to decide that. You need to practice it onto a demo account. You need to approach us at Elite Traders as well, just to get an idea of whether you can actually, ride along the education and the coaching and everything else. And this is really important for you to realize that, and, join the community as well, and understand from the other people, like-minded people, whether this is really for you. This is very important. Of course, you want to choose a right educator, mentor. I'm a trader myself, and I've been trading for many, many years. And basically, it is important for you to choose the right educator and mentor who are not just theoretical, who are traders themselves, successful traders themselves, and have got a large following of people who are successful as well and keep growing. So that's very important for you. You need to select the right practical education as well, because you need to understand whether, to ask the question, whether the right practical education, is it a balanced approach? Is it just one-sided? Is it too technical? Is it only news trading? You need to balance up between the technical, fundamental, and sentiment analysis. So you need to combine different school of analysis so that you have got a balanced approach to understand and learn a little bit more, rather than being very narrow-minded into one area, and that usually doesn't work practically in Forex trading, because it's a highly risky market as well. Okay, does it bridge the gap between theory and practice? Is it only theory, and are you made to just read and read and read and then come back in 6 months and then apply and then all that kind of thing? You want to have a balance between theory and practice. Also, is it coaching you? Are they coaching you? Are these mentors, traders, or whoever they call themselves are coaching you to become a gambler trader or a trader investor? There are differences in that. We'll cover that in our next modules as well. Now, does it focus on consistency, long-term process, and the psychology, your psychology, when times are not good, when you are in stressful time? Does it actually cover all that as well, on how you manage your emotions, how you actually go into the right frame of mind and everything else? Because there's a lot more to that than just trading, making money, and being in front of the computer all throughout. You don't need to do all that. You can actually trade much less and learn much more. Actually, there are ways to do that. So this is what you need to understand and question yourself. Now, are you guided to apply the right trading tools, for example, like the seasonal advisor, or other tools as well? Are you actually being taught to overanalyze the market with too many indicators? Overanalysis is paralysis. You need to be very careful with choosing the right tools, getting the right amount of information to make the right decision in trading the Forex market. So this is very important for you as well. Okay. Now you need to be very picky. Join a successful community of traders like Elite Traders Club. Elite Traders is basically made up of about 100,000 global community of traders and followers out there. Okay, and we are really proud to actually have them all growing as a very big, one big happy trading family. And this is basically what you would need to know as well. You can monitor them. You can go onto their Facebook, Instagram, Elite Traders Club, and go onto their website, try out their services, free trial services. And that's basically how you get to know the community, the traders and the coaches and trainers like myself. Okay, and you want to adopt the right mindset of the successful traders as well. So, there's a saying, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So that is really important. Or the birds of the same feather flocks together. And this is also very important. So you want to go around and be with successful traders out there who has got a balance between trading and living, not just trading and being in front of the computer and doing nothing else. No, we don't want that either. We want you guys to know what to do with your Forex profits as well, how you compound, grow it, and then you become more and more successful. That's basically it. Okay. Upcoming topics, of course, I will be talking a little bit about, for beginners, what are the right practical ways to bridge the gap between theory and practice as well. There's a lot of price action related topics to psychological numbers and support resistance levels as well, and zones. And then we want to confirm that with some chosen cherry picked technical indicators as well. And of course, there's been a lot of interest about candlestick patterns that I've mentioned about a recommended video by Rayner Teo as well, to confirm trends, continuation or reversals, and various others. Okay. All right, guys. And I think that's all I have for you guys. And I'm really happy to actually answer more of your questions. You can email me directly to info@kennysimon.tv. With that, I want to say a very big thank you. Look up for more of my videos and courses that I will be releasing. And also, I travel a lot, so I'll be meeting some of the traders worldwide. So if you've got any requests of groups of training and coaching of groups as well, feel free, email me, and then we'll just chat about anything, whether it's trading or meeting up. It's not a problem at all. So with that, wish you guys happy pipping, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.